The iPhone 18 Pro release date might still be officially secret, but Apple's own software roadmap is quietly giving the whole game away. The iOS 27 beta schedule, the timing of the public beta, and Apple's long-standing launch traditions are all lining up to reveal when the iPhone 18 Pro, iPhone 18 Pro Max, and the first foldable iPhone Ultra are expected to launch in September. In this script, we're going to break down the complete iPhone 18 Pro launch timeline, the rumored Apple September event date, when pre-orders should open, when iOS 27 will roll out to everyone, and the exact Friday you'll likely be able to walk into a store and buy the iPhone 18 Pro. Stay with this till the end if you want a clear, step-by-step picture of Apple's 2026 iPhone launch schedule. Let's start with the key clue. iOS 27 right now. The software that will power the iPhone 18 Pro and every compatible iPhone, all the way back to the iPhone 11 series, is in developer beta. Apple has already pushed out the third developer beta of iOS 27, landing on Monday, July 6th. That timing is important. It closely matches the pattern from previous years, which strongly suggests Apple's software engineering teams are exactly where they want to be. This matters because when the iOS betas are on schedule, the iPhone hardware launch is almost always on schedule too. The iPhone 18 Pro doesn't exist in isolation. It launches hand-in-hand with the final version of iOS 27. If one slips, the other often does as well. The fact that iOS 27's third developer beta hit right on time is a big signal that Apple's broader September plan is intact. Contrast that with last year. The first public beta of iOS 26 arrived later than usual, largely due to the complexity of the new liquid glass design and other ambitious system-wide changes. Apple held back the public beta until the fourth developer beta was ready, adding noticeable friction into the usual timeline. This year, reports from well-connected Apple watchers, including Mark Gurman at Bloomberg, suggest things are running more smoothly. No major delays, no visible panic, and no sign that Apple is worried about hitting its usual September launch window. That leads us to the next major milestone on the iPhone 18 Pro roadmap, the iOS 27 public beta. Based on Apple's historical patterns and where the developer betas currently stand, the first iOS 27 public beta is expected to drop around Monday, July 13th or Tuesday, July 14th. That's the week most observers are watching. When Apple flips that switch and opens the public beta to millions of regular users, it's a strong indication that they're confident in the stability and performance of iOS 27. Why is that important for the iPhone 18 Pro release date? Because once the public beta is out, Apple almost never dramatically changes the overall schedule. From that point on, the calendar essentially locks into place. Polish the software through August, finalize iOS late in the month, then unveil the new iPhones in early September and ship them in the second half of the month. If the iOS 27 public beta does arrive in mid-July, it reinforces the idea that the hardware timeline is set and that the iPhone 18 Pro is right on track for a September launch. Now, let's talk about the big moment everyone is waiting for. Apple's September special event. There's been some debate about the exact date, but if you understand Apple's habits, the picture becomes a lot clearer. Some reports have suggested that Apple's 2026 iPhone keynote might land on Tuesday, September 8th, with Wednesday, September 9th as a backup option. On paper, that sounds plausible. Apple often favors Tuesday or Wednesday keynotes in the first half of September. But there's a problem with the September 8 prediction. In 2026, that date falls immediately after Labor Day in the United States, and Apple almost never holds major product keynotes on the day right after a big public holiday. Logistically, it's messy. Staff are just returning from a long weekend, media and analysts are traveling, and many viewers are still in holiday mode. Historically, Apple tends to avoid that kind of scheduling headache. That's why a growing number of observers believe that Wednesday, September 9th, at 10 a.m. Pacific Time is a far more realistic candidate for the iPhone 18 Pro launch event. It fits perfectly with Apple's established behavior, a midweek keynote safely clear of Labor Day, giving the company time to prepare and the media time to arrive. So what can you expect from that September 9th event? This keynote is shaping up to be one of the most important in years. It will likely be the first major iPhone launch presented by Apple's new CEO, John Ternus, marking a fresh era for the company at the very top. On stage, you can expect Apple to unveil at least 3 headline-grabbing devices: the iPhone 18 Pro, the next-generation flagship with Apple's best camera, display, and performance, the iPhone 18 Pro Max, the larger premium model that usually gets Apple's biggest battery and most advanced camera setup, and Apple's first foldable iPhone, widely rumored to be branded as the iPhone Ultra, signaling a brand new category and form factor in the iPhone lineup. Alongside these, expect updated Apple Watches, likely 2 models, and potentially 1 more surprise hardware announcement. As Apple often likes to slip in an unexpected reveal to keep the keynote exciting. But the event is not just about shiny new devices. It's also where Apple will lock in the dates that matter to buyers: when pre-orders start, when iOS 27 goes public, and when the iPhone 18 Pro release date actually lands. Let's move to the next crucial moment. iPhone 18 Pro pre-orders. Assuming the keynote does indeed take place on Wednesday, September 9th, the next step follows a very familiar rhythm. For years, Apple has opened iPhone pre-orders on the Friday immediately after the September event. There's no reason to expect a drastic change in 2026. That means you should circle Friday, September 11th on your calendar as the most likely iPhone 18 Pro pre-order date. If Apple sticks to its typical timing, pre-orders will probably go live at 5 a.m. Pacific, which translates to 8 a.m. Eastern and 1 p.m. in the UK. For serious buyers, especially those who want launch, day delivery, or specific colors and storage configurations, that timing matters. On recent iPhone launches, some popular versions have slipped into backorder status within minutes or hours. So if you're aiming to be among the first to get the iPhone 18 Pro or the new foldable iPhone Ultra, you'll probably want to be awake and ready when that pre-order window opens on September 11th. What about the final version of iOS 27 for everyone? Once the keynote is done and pre-orders are in motion, Apple shifts its software focus to the general public rollout of iOS 27. The pattern here is also consistent. Apple likes to release the final version of iOS a few days before the new iPhones actually hit stores. This gives existing users access to the latest features and makes sure that when people unbox their brand new iPhone 18 Pro, the software ecosystem is already fully live. Looking at Apple's usual behavior, the iOS 27 general release date is most likely to land on Monday, September 14th, at around 10 a.m. Pacific. 1 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. in the UK, there is a small chance Apple could push it to Tuesday, September 15th instead, especially if they want 1 extra day of polish. But mid-September and early in the week is almost guaranteed. When that happens, iOS 27 should begin rolling out to compatible devices, including the iPhone 11 series and newer, updating hundreds of millions of iPhones worldwide. That rollout is a major part of the iPhone 18 Pro story, because it ensures the new hardware and software ecosystem are unified at the exact moment. Apple's marketing machine goes into overdrive. Finally, we arrive at the date most people care about the most, when the iPhone 18 Pro actually goes on sale. Apple's iPhone release dates have followed a remarkably consistent pattern. Open pre-orders that same week, then deliver the first units in stock stores the following Friday. With the likely keynote on September 9th and pre-orders on September 11th, the logical, historically consistent iPhone 18 Pro release date is Friday, September 18th. On that day, if predictions hold, you'll see 3 things happen at once. The first iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max pre-orders will arrive at customers' doors. The first wave of the foldable iPhone Ultra will begin shipping, though that model may face more constrained supply and longer wait times. Apple stores and authorized retailers around the world will start selling the iPhone 18 lineup to walk-in customers, with the usual launch day lines, in-store setup and hands-on demos, unless there's an unexpected supply issue, manufacturing delay, or a last-minute software problem. Friday, September 18th, is the date that best fits every piece of the puzzle: the iOS 27 beta schedule, Apple's historical launch habits, the rumored keynote timing, and the pattern of previous iPhone rollouts. To recap the expected iPhone 18 Pro launch timeline based on everything we know so far: Early July, iOS 27. Developer betas remain on schedule, with the third beta landing July 6th, mid-July. First iOS 27 public beta likely to arrive around July 13 to 14, signaling that development is on track. Wednesday, September 9th, 10 a.m. Pacific, predicted Apple September event, hosted by new CEO John Ternus, unveiling the iPhone 18 Pro, iPhone 18 Pro Max, and the foldable iPhone Ultra alongside new Apple Watches. Friday, September 11th, 5 a.m. Pacific, expected opening of iPhone 18 Pro pre-orders, with early buyers racing to secure launch day delivery. September 14th, likely general release of iOS 27 to the public, rolling out 2 compatible iPhones worldwide. Friday, September 18th, predicted on-sale date for the iPhone 18 Pro, iPhone 18 Pro Max, and in more limited quantities, the foldable iPhone Ultra. All of this is driven less by guesswork and more by Apple's own behavior. The steady timing of iOS 27 betas, the likely mid-July arrival of the public beta, the avoidance of a post-Labor Day keynote, and a long history of Friday iPhone launches in the latter half of September. So if you've been waiting to plan your upgrade, budget for the iPhone 18 Pro, or simply mark your calendar for Apple's biggest event of 2026, this is the roadmap to watch. The software is on schedule, the leaks are lining up, and unless Apple breaks its own playbook, September 18th is shaping up to be the day the iPhone 18 Pro finally lands in your hand.